Welcome to One Day in a Wake Up, a show about doing time, getting out, and where you are now. In prison slang, one day in a wake up means you're almost free. Just one more day before they walk you out the gate. So let's walk out together. One Day in a Wake Up on Colorado Radio for Justice.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back. Thank you again for joining us here on One Day in a Wake Up. This is a show where we touch on a little bit of incarceration, but mainly like to highlight on a lot of post-incarceration, the struggles and, the progression that people make being on paper, coming off, all the obstacles it takes to be successful. If you didn't know, this is a Colorado Radio for Justice production. I am your humble, formerly incarcerated host, Herbert Alexander. Today, we're in for a treat. I'm here with a very, very good friend of mine. I've known him over 15 years. If I was to describe my man, I would call him a ball-hogging, dribbling, don't like to pass the ball. Did I say ball-hogging? On the fast break, 3-on-1, 3v1. I'm not going to pass it to nobody. My partner. My partner, Emmitt, man. Emmitt Compito. What's up with you, bro?
What's going on, man? I appreciate you having me, man.
Oh, and we got my man's Cash right here, too. Got our man's Cash. Cash, money. All right. So again, just to touch on things like what this show is about is, it's called One Day in a Wake Up. And as you know that in prison movie, you'd be like, what do you got left? I got 5 in a wake up, But we want to touch on that time when it was only one day in a wake up. How did that feel that night? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just want to start off with, you were incarcerated. How long were you sentenced to?
2004, I was sentenced to 84 years in prison. Approximately about 2014, I started working on my case to get back in court. During that time, a couple people in my case brought back some evidence and stuff, and I went back to court. And for pretty much not getting in trouble throughout my time, they cut my sentence in half to 44 years. And so after 18 years of seeing the parole board for the first time, they paroled me.
Blessings. Did you get it back on a 35B? A reconsideration?
Reconsideration. Pretty much we went back on reconsideration. And like I said, they looked at my record. It was my first time being incarcerated. During my time being incarcerated, I wasn't in a lot of trouble. I didn't have any violence or anything like that. So they just cut my sentence in half.
That's dope. It pays, it pays. If you want to go home, it seems like that pays, pays dividends.
Absolutely.
If you're trying to go home.
Yeah, well, you think I was 23 years old when I went away. Mm-hmm. So at that time, it's sad to say, it probably took about 7 to 8 years before I realized, probably not gonna never get out of here. They gave me a life sentence. It didn't say life sentence, but 84 years, I can't live that long. And so I really, I had kids. They were teenagers at that time, and they're, teenagers that go through that little phase. And I'm already incarcerated, so that's hard to kind of parent and try to lead them in the right direction, tell them what they shouldn't do while I'm incarcerated. Mm-hmm. But I just, at that time, I just wanted to be the best version of a father that I could, which means I couldn't really be a hypocrite and a lot of stuff that I wanted to give them. So I had to make a conscious choice to really just kind of change my life around.
When do you think, if you would go down your line of history, that you made that change, when you decided to make that change?
Honestly, for me, when I started questioning my spirituality, honestly. That's for most people who got spiritual beliefs, they have certain core values. And in my opinion, for the most part, most of those believe they're just humane things, how to be a good human being. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Just good character type stuff. So once I started to really question things about my faith and look at myself, in the environment of prison, it's hard to be humane. You know what I'm saying? It's a savage place. So if you're just a regular nice guy and cool, you're gonna get you might get taken advantage of.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's always a concern. But at that point in my life, I'm fortunate, you know, that I had good friends around me, you know what I'm saying? Good, solid people, you know what I'm saying? We all made mistakes and we're trying to do right. We want to get home to our family. So when you surround yourself with good people in an environment like that, man, that is major. You know, when I have people like you come in there, you wasn't a person who could be led by other people. You know, a lot of people come to prison, they can be led in different directions and persuaded and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But when you had the ability to be able to stand on your own a little bit and people around you kind of respect that, it makes that type of environment that much easier. You know what I'm saying? So just being a human being, man, and looking at everybody else as people who made mistakes, not necessarily based off of how they might live their life in there or what their case is and stuff like that, you know. So just trying to be a better human being, you know.
All right. So when you get your sentence back, when you give your half the time back, what was that feeling like? Was you excited, or was you like the work still isn't done?
I was very excited. That was half of my sentence, but at the same time, 44 years. You don't know how that's going to play out. And at that time, I think I probably was down
15?
Maybe about 14 years.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, I still got some time to go see the parole board. You know, anything can happen in those environments and circumstances. But once I get that time back, it actually opened up the door for me to be involved in other programs and stuff to help me get time off, to kind of just learn. Because when you have a whole bunch of time, a lot of doors are shut as far as like elevating education and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they work on that, because I went through the same thing where I couldn't get, you know, just certain programming that I wanted to get into. Yeah. That even your programming, your case manager would assign you programming, but when you go to fill out the application for that programming to do that course or sign up for it, they tell you, hey, you know, this is from guys with 5 years. Man, see the parole board within 5 years.
For sure.
So that's how they treat it. But now you go to the parole board. It took you how long before you were able to hear an answer?
Man, so I did a total of 18 years. About 17 of those years were in Lyman. So my last year, when I'm close to seeing the parole board, they sent me to Sterling, to the low side. So, you know, that's a whole different environment in life. But COVID had hit. COVID had just hit. And
you left before COVID?
Yeah, COVID hit when I was in Sterling. And it was kind of crazy because people were speculating, like, man, they want to get people out of here, or nah, they don't want to send people out to the public. Like, so you kind of unsure what you was going to get.
Yeah.
So it was kind of scary. I had my hopes up because I had been, you know, keeping myself straight, really just working on myself. And I had made, I had a lot of support. For sure. So I had high hopes. I seen the board. It took like, sheesh. It felt like at least like 3 months or so. It felt like
really?
A while. Yeah,
Took a while?
Like a while, yeah. I think it probably was like a month and a half or something like that before we heard back.
Oh yeah, so you were during that time you was pretty much, you had that anxious feeling.
Yeah, it was definitely an anxious feeling. And I was trying to parole to a new area other than when I caught my case in Colorado Springs. I was trying to go to Denver. I don't have family out in Colorado. My family's from New York, so that was another concern. But the people I did have around me, everything worked out. I paroled.
Yeah, support always helps.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Now, the night that you find out you're going to get paroled, now they come with your date. What was that like that night?
I was happy, but anxious because I don't have nothing. I don't got no family out here. I don't got no clothes. I'm like, damn, I get out. I'm going to be on parole. I got to get a job. Like, it's a lot of anxiety because I don't know how I'm going to take care of any stuff. And even though I had saved up some money and I did have good family support, I really didn't want to, I didn't want to be a burden. Like, they helped me. They took care of me pretty much my whole time being locked up. So to have an opportunity to be able to come home and stand as a man and take care of yourself, like, I'm like, oh man, it's a lot to deal with. But it was a cool process. I was blessed to be able to get out, and Seth Seth gave me my first job, man. I didn't know nothing about flooring, man.
Shots out, Seth Ready. Big
Eric,
tiles.
Another good friend of mine who had got out, he was down as a juvenile, Jensen. Eric Jensen, he was super, super instrumental. He actually introduced me to Seth. I told him, I was like, bro, I need a job, man. I need to get working as soon as possible. And
this is when you got out?
Yeah, this is when I got out.
Okay. So you were tripping because you were like, I'm going out to the world with nothing.
Yeah, I'm going out. I don't know nobody. Like I know people out there, but they're just getting out there, getting themselves together. I don't know where to go. I've never been in Denver.
So they gave you parole. They didn't give you a halfway house or anything. You went.
They gave me parole. I was on an ankle monitor for 30 days.
Ankle monitor for 30 days. Woo!
I was blessed to have a good friend out there. She was a social worker, and she allowed me to parole to her and get my life started.
Cool. All right. So you said Seth gave you your first job?
Seth gave me my first job.
All right. And you met Seth through Eric Jensen?
Yep.
Okay. So like people are like, who are these people and everything? Like Eric Jensen is a friend of ours. We were locked up with him. Seth Ready. Y'all know Seth be on One Day in a Wake Up. Seth is Colorado Radio for Justice. He is the other co-director. One of the 3 co-directors. Okay, so you were working with Seth. How was that?
Man, it was a great experience. He told me about his journey of getting out and, really having a hard time like finding good workers. He had built a business of his own, and he's very, very talented at what he do. And he's very dedicated. He has a passion for the work that he does. So, to have a helper and to need a helper, they got to come along. They got to be into it like he into it, or it's not going to come out how it's supposed to. So that was definitely one of his concerns. So be on time, be ready to work and be ready to learn. And I had never did flooring in my life. Never. Like when I was looking at the stuff that had to be done, he walked me through. I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't.
What did I get myself into?
Oh my goodness! But he taught me so much in such a short time frame, and it actually it gave me a lot of confidence within myself. Being thrown in an arena I know nothing about, and actually being able to pick up a tool and a skill, it was real good.
That's dope. All right, so are you off parole now?
Off parole.
You're off parole. So did you have any stumbles through the way or anything? No stumbles?
Oh, I had a lot of stumbles. I can honestly say it wasn't that I did all the right things while I didn't, end up back in prison. I had good people around me, and I was blessed and humble. Like it's crazy. When you're incarcerated for a very long time and you really don't see no way out. Then you see all these guys coming in and coming out, and as you're still doing your time, it's easy to get in your mind like, oh man, I would never do that. I would never do this. Until you find yourself in some circumstances, in certain situations, altercations. When you're incarcerated, just simple stuff. Like I realize in prison there's such a high respect level. You don't just walk around disrespecting people, cutting people off, and it's based off of respect. In society, the respect level is very low. A person that cuts you off, cuss you out, or anything at any given moment, and how do you really respond to that? So I had a few situations. Some I handled well, some I didn't handle well. But thankfully, I had good family support around me. That when I fell, I didn't fall too low. I had people around me that kind of helped me get back on track.
I've seen some families where they be like, I didn't have enough of this. Like, I'm done with you.
Man,
you know what I'm saying?
Support is everything. Support is everything. Like just genuine love. You're not going to always agree or do what they want you to do, but them just being there when you fall down. And I learned a valuable thing from Seth. When I got a job after I was working with him, you get into an actual job sector, just learning how to work with other people, stuff like that. And one thing I learned from Seth is I wanted to be in a position to be like my own boss, to have my own company. He's actually was an inspiration to me starting my own company.
I'm proud to be his friend.
Oh, absolutely.
Straight up. Was there anything that gave you problems adjusting after being locked up that long to the world?
Being around people, I remember I'd never been to Denver before. And when I paroled to Westminster. And I went to the mall. The young lady I was with.
Mm-hmm.
And we're walking through the mall, we were just shopping, and we went into a hat store. And I had saved up money and stuff like that. Like, we about to go shopping, so I had a nice amount of money on me. And I'm in there looking at some hats, and I put out my money, and I turn around, and it's like 3 or 4 dudes in there, and they're kind of like arguing, but they're kind of like side-eyeing me. And it was crazy. I legit thought like they were about to try to rob me or do something. And the lady I was with, she was with me. And so, like, I don't want no altercation there because it looked like they was about to fight, and I didn't know if they was trying to, like, target towards my area. So I was instantly worried about her, and I'm like, yo, go to the car. And she's looking at me, and I was like, just go to the car. And she leaves and goes to the car, and I'm turning around, and then I guess they really wasn't paying me no attention. They were about to fight amongst themselves, but they just trying to look around the area, and they had went out of the store. And so I lagged behind them, and they were arguing, and I just went out the mall and went to the car. And my heart's beating all fast. And I'm like, yo, what the? So now I'm feeling bad for her because she don't know what's going on. I'm like, man, go to the car. And that was one thing I was like, because for a long time being in prison, in my opinion, I tried my best to not be institutionalized, not to go to the stereotypical guy locked up. And that was the first time I realized I was institutionalized. And I was like, yo, this is crazy. Like, I'm looking around, ain't no security, you don't got web, you don't got nothing. Like, and I'm on parole. Like, I was very,
You're like,
a crazy moment.
You're like, there's nobody here to stop nobody from doing anything. Mm-hmm. So you're just like, you feel naked.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was a struggle for me. So at that point, it took me a while to really be able to get into areas with large crowds, people just walking through, because people, they walk through, they don't say, excuse me, they don't say nothing. They just,
oh, man.
And so I'm like, I would rather not be in those situations than not know, because you never know. You think somebody's trying to punk you, push you, anything, and then especially if you got your family with you, it was a very, very uncomfortable situation. So it took me a while to be able to get to the point where I can go to the bar and just be like a normal person.
Like you said, there was a time where I would just be walking and people would bump into you, and you're just like.
It was crazy. I went through therapy a minute, and that's actually what led me to having a service dog, because it literally, like, when I would go in places in public, I would feel like people were watching me, the attention is on me. And that was something, as having him, especially his breed, like, no matter where I go, he has the attention, so it kind of made me feel a little bit more comfortable. Even when people are looking my direction, something like that, I'll automatically think, well, they looking at gas. So that kind of helped me to be out in public a little bit more.
Well, maybe I needed one because I just started eating out of silverware at restaurants. I would literally be like, hey, you guys getting plastic back there?
Yes, it's definitely an adjustment, man. You don't realize it, like, being incarcerated, especially if you, whatever your life was prior, you're a person out in public and stuff like that. You think you would just automatically go back to that, but it takes a while to adjust.
So, one of our staple questions on One Day in the Wake Up is, if you saw some younger gentleman coming out of prison, or even a woman coming out, just hypothetically, what advice would you give them to help them become successful, not to go back? Because you didn't go back, did you?
No.
You never went back to prison.
No.
So, like, what is the, you know what I'm saying? What's the blueprint? What is the blueprint these cats need to follow?
Follow directions. You have to, when you get out, if you're on parole, you're assigned a parole officer. And I think a lot of times we're intimidated by their position. Some of them say, like, the attitude of a parole officer is not the best. Which, I mean, you gotta look at it from both sides. But you got a parole officer who's dealing with, I don't know how many people, different personalities, different lifestyles. They probably been cussed out, all type of stuff. So, like, you're not gonna always have the best attitude. Like, I'm not gonna always have the best attitude. I know they're an authority figure, and I just follow direction. I ask questions a lot of time. When I was on parole, I was scared to ask questions. I was scared to ask, could I go out to see my family? I was scared to, different things. I was on an ankle monitor for 30 days. I was having a hard time when I was incarcerated. A certain period of time, I was on medication for sleeping. So now I'm out, super anxiety, hard to function. I gotta go to work with Seth. Struggling bad. I figured out because guess what? I figured it out for 18 years in prison. Why do I think now that I'm out, I had a luxury of not following rules and regulations? Following rules and regulations is what got me the opportunity to get out. So I don't care what. I want to know all the rules and regulations. I'm going to follow them. If I got questions, if I got issues, I'm going to bring it to their attention. Whatever they say from there, that's what I'm for. So just follow. Some people think it's unfair. We think every parole officer is different. They handle people different. That's just what it is.
I think when you go, because I understand that. I go up to a parole officer and they see my file, they see my affiliations and everything, and automatically thought I was on some BS from the beginning. So kind of gave me it was like the side eye treatment, like another one of you, just like you when I got to that point that I didn't get in any trouble, nothing crazy. I kept a good record. When I got to the halfway house, I handled my business there, clean record. You know what I'm saying? Now I get to parole. Parole within 6 months. I don't even say 6 months. 4 months. I was on what's called low custody parole, and all you do is call in once a month. And they had already told me earlier, he was like, "Hey man, if you keep doing well, don't catch no cases. Don't catch no cases. We'll go ahead." Not saying that you can catch technicals, but yeah, just don't put yourself in situations where they can send you back. Do what you got to do, and they will take you off parole. They were like, "We'll put you in for early release." I got put in for early release. A month later, they were like, "Hey, you're off parole as of today." I was like, "Bad."
And that's crazy. We got file lights for two different people. And same thing with me. I was on ankle monitor for 30 days. I had a 5-year parole. I got out October of 2020. I was off parole before the summer of 23. I had cleared my parole. And the thing was, they wanted me to do drug classes. I was mad because I'm like, I don't have a drug case. I don't have a drug problem. But guess what I did? I went there, had an assessment. The drug class people said I don't need one. Mm-hmm. I gave that to my parole officer. So she actually, I was doing so good. She actually tried to put me in for early discharge before 2 years. 2 years on parole. I got denied 2 times. And what I found out was after the third time she put me in, because after the second time I was denied, I'm like, well, why am I denied? The problem was when he looked in my file, he didn't see I had completed a drug class, and that was one of my requirements. Yeah. So then when she realized that, she went back to him and gave him the assessment that I got from the drug class place. And next time I went out,
stamp of approval.
So just go through the process. It may not seem fair. You may not like it. Ask questions. But at the end of the day, whatever they say, it goes. Do what you need to do.
Life isn't fair, bro. None of this is fair. Life ain't fair for nobody. So you just got to do what you got to do. You got to walk your lane, do what you got to do, get up out of that situation.
So many people that don't understand. Luckily for me, even though being young, the first time being incarcerated, first time being in trouble, I still wasn't knucklehead. I didn't do all the right things. I got a little trouble here and there, but man, here we are, almost 17 years later, and they are looking at my file from when I came in 2004. Even the little mishaps didn't have no violence, no fights and stuff like that. But all that stuff matters, and you don't realize that when you come in with all this time. And I've seen so many people, man, who came in, had a real bad attitude, real bad record, early on, but as they grew, they changed and they became better people, but still was held to the standards of when they first came in. All that stuff matters. So I was blessed to be there. do some of the right things and really try to focus on myself. It don't matter about the classes and programs they give you. Like, if you don't want to change yourself, if you don't have that in you within yourself, it's going to be a bad situation. It wasn't until I wanted to change. So I looked at myself in the mirror and I'm like, bro, you got to change.
Straight up. That's facts. You got anything else you want to add, bro?
No, I'm very proud of you, Seth, all you guys, man. It's not, I said I didn't return. It wasn't that I didn't go back or get violated because I did all the right things, just seeing you guys out there. Y'all really walking the walk, and it's not easy. It's not easy at all, coming to y'all situation. Y'all got families to take care of, things of that nature, but y'all able to put, helping really before yourself. Because I'm pretty sure you can go to a different sector, you qualify, you're very smart, you can take a host of different jobs. You know what I'm saying? But this is something, man, that's in your heart to be able to give back. And not everybody has that strength or ability to be able to walk that type of road. And so I'm proud of y'all, man. I'm proud of what y'all doing. I thank you for this opportunity, man. I'm definitely going to support whatever y'all have going on.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it, and I appreciate everybody coming through, watching, joining. Remember, hit that subscribe, hit that like, show some love. Colorado Radio for Justice. You know what I'm saying? Instagram, Facebook. Follow. Show some love, baby. Hey, and just so you know, even when I finally did get the ball, he was on the opposite side, I cooked his ass. Saying that's how I'm missing his tooth, because I cooked his ass.
I'm tired.
All right. This is One Day in the Wake Up, man. Much love to everybody, man. Dash, you was asleep, man. What's wrong with you, bro? Missing out. Thank y'all for joining, man. Appreciate it.
To who it may concern, I'm at the point of no return. It took a couple round trips in order for me to learn, and I ain't never going back. Allow me to be exact. You let pain run its course till you're forced to adapt in the worst habitat. Speaking matter of fact, zigzagging through this maze with my brain still intact. Progress is a phase, the rest is just cap. What lurks after that? Fresh air don't care when you spent light years in a prison, shifting gears with the friction and the tears. Addictions in the rear, motto for your peers. That's the sum of all fears. This is not a hot take. One day and awake till it's steak on my plate. Kiss from my mate, life reanimate. Exist to be great. Let your thoughts elevate. Bend but don't break, cause your past and your future can no longer correlate.
One Day and a Wake Up is a production of Colorado Radio for Justice. Check out CRJ at radioforjustice.org and across social media at Radio for Justice. This episode of One Day and a Wake Up was produced by me, Taylor Hanson, along with Ryan Conroe and Herbert Alexander. We're also the executive producers for this show, along with Seth Reddy. Our theme music is by Herbert Alexander. This is One Day and a Wake Up.